Before I moved to France, I was planning a very different life. I nearly bought a small hotel in the Scottish Highlands. I found the hotel, I wrote the business plan, I applied for financing, and I was approved. It was so close, I could almost see myself there. But sometimes, even when a door looks like it's opening, life has other plans. Hi, I'm Karen, and welcome to Designing Freedom. This channel follows my journey from Florida to Europe, building the freedom to work less and live more. In my first video, I shared why I sold my home in Florida and chose freedom over home ownership. But what I didn't fully explain was that France was not my first plan. My first plan was Scotland. My gran's family was Scottish, and even though my gran was born in Africa, she instilled in me a real love for Scotland. She gave me an appreciation for Scottish values, Scottish history, Scottish inventors, of course, and Scottish food, Scottish music and storytelling, and that wonderful sense of strength and warmth that I associate with the Scottish people. Over the years, I've spent quite a lot of time there and always loved it. I love the climate, the scenery, the music, the people, and the accent. I especially love Edinburgh, the festival, the military tattoo, and the atmosphere of the city. So when I started seriously thinking about leaving Florida and creating a different life, Scotland felt like a very natural place to consider. Scotland felt less like a new idea and more like an old love I was finally trying to make real. But because my gran was not born, or she was born in Africa, not in Scotland, I didn't have a straightforward family-based route to UK residency. And that is why I began looking for other legal ways to live there. And it eventually led me to an immigration lawyer and the idea of buying a business. So I began researching businesses in Scotland as a possible path to building a new life there. Eventually I found a small hotel in the Scottish Highlands that felt like a real possibility. It wasn't just a romantic dream. I visited the hotel twice, I reviewed the financials, I analysed the operations, and I created a detailed business plan based on the hotel's current performance and future potential. That business plan supported my financing application, and the financing was approved. My background helped me here. I started my career at KPMG, and then I worked for more than 20 years as a financial controller in the United States. And I've owned or co-owned businesses before. So creating a business plan wasn't intimidating. It was exciting. It felt practical, meaningful, and adventurous, all at the same time. I needed the financing for the difference between what I had available to invest and the purchase price of the hotel. So I applied for about $800,000 in financing, and I was approved. And that was the moment it started to feel very real. I'd sold my house in Florida. I had a business plan. I had financing. I had immigration advice. I thought Scotland was the next chapter. And then my immigration lawyer contacted me. The visa rules had changed. The route I'd been planning to use was no longer available to me in the way we had expected. I felt like someone had punched me hard in the stomach. It wasn't just an idea I'd casually considered. I'd put real work into it. I'd imagined the future, but I also knew something important. I still wanted a life abroad. Scotland wasn't the door that opened at that moment, but it helped me see how ready I was for a different life. Once the route to Scotland was no longer possible, or that route was no longer possible, I had a choice. I could give up on the idea of living abroad, or I could keep researching. And because Scotland had already shown me how much I wanted this new life, I kept going. And that's when I started looking more seriously at Europe. I researched visa options, cost of living, language, lifestyle, and whether my remote US job could support a long stay visa application. That research eventually led me to France. So France was not the original plan, but it became the open door. One thing I have learned in my life is how important it is to hold on to a positive attitude. When something doesn't work out the way I hoped, I don't like to call it a failure. I try not to speak about it as if the door is closed forever, because I really believe that our words matter. I never want my own words to block future possibilities. Scotland still means something to me. It always will. It feels like part of my story. And maybe someday it will come back into my life in a different way. Maybe it was there to show me that I was ready for change, ready for courage, and ready to build a different life. So instead of seeing that chapter as an ending, I chose to see it as part of the path. It reminded me that when one opportunity shifts, another one can appear. And the most important thing is to stay open to change, open to possibility, open to the idea that life may still surprise us in beautiful ways. I still love Scotland, but for now, Scotland led me to France. And today, I'm here in France, studying French in Normandy, working remotely for a US company, and exploring where I might eventually live, continuing to design my life with more freedom and more choice. If this story resonates with you, please subscribe and follow along. I'll be sharing the real journey, the plans, the immigration process, finances, the language learning, and the search for where I truly belong. And if you've ever had a dream that took an unexpected turn, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. In the next video, I'll explain how my remote US job helped me qualify for a French long stay visa, and why studying at Alliance Française helped me solve one of the biggest visa requirements. I'm Karen, and this is Designing Freedom.